What is going on, viewers? It's Ben Cool Kid back again. I know I just posted a video like quite literally a few minutes ago, but I'm back at it again with your landing tutorial in Infinite Flight, ending the series on Infinite Flight Full Flight tutorial. I hope this series is going to be successful in the long run, but yeah, I know it's only 3 videos, but yeah, as you can see, we're at our cruising altitude. Remember, you're just gonna want to like chill and stuff. You can like leave your device at cruising altitude. You really don't have to do anything at cruise unless like there's wind or turbulence, then you gotta turn on the seatbelt sign. But we are entering near our top of descent. So what I'm gonna do is you're gonna want to arm VNav right before your top of descent. And if you forget to do it, make sure you do it before the airport. But sometimes when you forget to do it, it's pretty bad because you have a hard time slowing down. And if you miss it big time enough, you'll actually miss it completely because a VNav only goes negative 3,000 feet per minute, and that's the maximum it goes, no matter how far off you are. So I'll be back with you once we are further down the descent. So VNav has just started descending the aircraft. As you can see, the aircraft is now currently losing altitude, which is what you want. If you're doing a long haul, you can step climb, but that just means you're going to have to arm VNav earlier because it'll mean a longer descent. But other than that, it's pretty good. And also, do not fall for this airspeed. You are not going 260 knots. Once you go below 28,000 feet, then the realistic speed will come back. But trust, you are not going 262 knots. You are going way faster than that. Just trust me in that. But while you're descending, if you want to manually descend for whatever reason, as you can see, our descent waypoint is flight level 240 or 24,000 feet, and that's the altitude we're going to want to meet at that waypoint, and that's our first VNav waypoint. So it's Bravo Tango Golf at flight level 240, and the line you see there is called a banana. That's estimating how much where you're going to meet your desired altitude. It also works for climb, but if you want to manually descend, you make sure that you have that as close to the descent waypoint as possible, just for good purposes and like smooth landing purposes. Because if you're late on the descent, that could cost you the approach, because you could either come in really fast or have a steep approach. But anyway, enjoy the time lapse until we get to about 20 or 15,000 feet. Okay guys, so as you descend, you're just going to want to monitor your airspeed, and once you get close to 10,000 feet, like 15,000 feet or so, in a big wide-body aircraft, it takes a long time to slow down in the air, so I recommend slowing down around 18,000 feet using flight spoilers. But in an aircraft like the 737, I usually don't have any problem slowing down, so I recommend like between like 14,000 and 13,500 feet to start slowing down to 250 knots. This plane usually has no problem slowing down to that speed and making it in time from that altitude. If you wait a little bit longer, then you might be cutting it a little close. But we are looking at I believe Portland International Airport right below us. Let's see if I could get it in the snapshot here. Yeah, there you go. Portland International Airport. Just thought I'd point that out. Never actually flown there in a sim. Probably should, though. Alright guys, we are currently approaching SeaTac. I'm gonna pause the video here and we'll come back when we're close to our slow down speed time. Alright, we are in the area where you're gonna want to start slowing down, so this is the part where I like to bring my speed down to 250 knots. And sometimes I just disengage the auto throttle when I try to gain and lose speed, but that just depends on what I'm feeling. But right now, you're going to want to try to turn on your landing lights and seatbelt sign and do a passenger announcement if you're flying a passenger plane, for example this. Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign has just been turned on, and we will be landing soon at Seattle Tacoma Airport. And the local time is currently around 2:20 p.m. The weather is currently good, and there are some light winds, but we should be coming into Seattle here in less than 10 minutes or so. We thank you for choosing United for traveling because we know you have multiple choices when you fly. We hope to see you again soon. Guys, that was not my best one. Trust me on that. That was not my best one, but you get the point. Yeah. So since we're getting close to our the destination airport, you would usually announce in the CTAF like Seattle Tacoma traffic, United 1542 left, base runway 34 left. Yeah, infinite flight is kind of unrealistic when it comes to CTAF because for those of you who really know about the phonetic like alphabet and numbers, you know that it's not 3, it's tree. Alright guys, so we have just started our slow down and almost final turn to the runway. At this time, make sure your flaps are set to 1 degrees and you're slowing down, you know, kind of configuring for landing. You're gonna want to aim for an approach speed from 180 to 156 to 160 knots coming in, at least on the 737. And at this point, you would be saying in the CTAF, Seattle traffic, United 1542 on final runway tree forward left. And the runway all the way on the left over there, if you guys can see that, is going to be our landing runway. So, yeah, let's get this bird down. Flaps 5 degrees. Let's speed this thing up a little bit. This is about 2,500 feet, so now you're going to want to go gear down. You're going to want to make sure your trim is set to negative trim. Just for getting down purposes, you know, for the sake of getting down. Flaps 15 degrees. You're going to want to keep lowering flaps as you head down final. And once it says VNAV unavailable, you're going to want to switch over to APPR, or you can arm APPR right at the start of your approach. You need to have tuned your runway to nav 1, and you have to be below maximum landing weight for APPR to work. Just a thought. Alright, so I have APPR armed, which means if I didn't do anything, the plane would fully auto-land itself, but I really do not recommend that because it does horrible at auto-landing itself, so yeah. Flaps 30 degrees. Do not forget to calibrate your device before landing, guys. That's a big problem I see with this. Alright, 1,000, stable. Once the GPWs call at 1,000, make sure you have a misapproach altitude set, just in case. And yeah, at this point, I also like to set my auto brakes to low if I'm not using manual brakes. And on short runways, if I'm using auto brakes, I use medium. At this point, I like to turn off the autopilot and hand fly it in. You're just going to want to get it down on the ground. Just don't go too fast, don't go too slow. And listen to the GPWs.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay, once the GPWs calls out 10, you're going to want to flare, which is put your nose up. And then once you're on the ground, do reverse thrusters engaged, spoilers up. And keep reversing until you reach 60 knots on the ground. Looking good. And then from here you can stop using auto brakes, or you can use auto brakes until you're slowed down. Auto brakes will slow you down all the way until 25 knots. And then, well, actually 29. And then, yeah, I will be back with you once we're a little bit of ways down the taxiway and vacated the runway. Alright guys, so once you are almost exiting the runway, you're going to want to go flaps up and then spoilers off. And you're going to want to reset your trim too. And at this point, you're going to want to announce on the CTAF, Seattle Tacoma traffic United 1542 is clear of all runways, so that other aircraft that are inbound know that you're clear of all runways and they're clear to use the runway. And now, I also like to reset my autopilot when I exit the runway. And since we have 2 runways we have to cross here, you're going to do Seattle Tacoma traffic United 1542 crossing runway 34 center, and same with runway 34 right. And once you're done crossing those runways, or crossing one runway, you're going to do Seattle Tacoma traffic United 1542 is clear of all runways. But this is all if you're playing online. If you're playing solo, you don't have to do anything. Also, do not forget to turn off your strobe and landing lights and start up the APU. But you are going to want to turn on your strobe lights when you cross the runway, so yeah. Seattle Tacoma traffic, United 1542 crossing runway 34 center. And online, guys, don't worry, you don't have to talk into the CTAF. It's pre-recorded voices. You can change them if you want, but yeah. I'm just demonstrating what I would say in the CTAF, if this was me. And what now, realistically, we're going to go to Concourse B, because that's where United Airlines part at Seattle, so yeah. Seattle Tacoma traffic, United 1542 crossing runway 34 right. Keep those strobe lights on because there was no point in turning them off. We're crossing another runway. Sometimes ATC will instruct you to hold short of those runways. It just depends. But during dead parts of the day, it probably doesn't matter. Okay, when you're done crossing the runways, turn off your strobe lights. And remember, hard 90-degree turns, no more than 10 knots. Seattle Tacoma traffic, United 1542 is clear of all runways. And that's pretty much the last message you have to send, unless you have to cross another runway until you get to the gate. So, yeah, let's taxi in. Alrighty, guys, so we're going to go ahead and taxi to Concourse B, which is the concourse right over there, if you can see that on the map. But, yeah, we got a little ways to taxi. Remember, guys, when you're taxiing, 35 knots ground speed and above on training and expert server will get you a violation, but I do not recommend exceeding 20 knots. You can exceed a little over 20 knots, and I would be okay with it, but like, realistically, I don't like to exceed like 25 knots at the max. And I rarely ever go that fast. Unless you guys know the Southwest Taxi meme, then I still don't even do the Southwest Taxi meme. When I fly with Ryanair, though, I do the Ryanair landing meme. For those of you who know, you know. But yeah, really, once you get to this point, it's kind of just a victory because you made it. You just got a taxi in without any problems. Obviously, you'd be communicating with ATC, like requesting like clearance into the gate, but if I have time, I'll do like an ATC tutorial maybe in the near future, but I don't plan on doing anything like that. By the way, guys, thank you for 11 subscribers. It's probably been like 48 hours and I already have over 10 subscribers, so I really do appreciate it. So we're going to want to start slowing down. Next, we're going to take the next turnoff here because the terminal we're going to be parking at is it right next to us? Yeah, that's the terminal we're going to be parking at right there. So next turnoff, which is actually right over here, I'm going to take it. Remember, sharp 90-degree turnoffs, you're going to want to slow down to 10 knots unless you're at or below 10 knots already. Just going to want to slow it down. Slow it down. Alright, we're good. Ensure your APU's on by the time you're in the ramp area. It's just better because you don't have to turn it on when you enter the gating area. The gates area, I should say. Yeah, the taxi lines at Seattle are kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if United uses the 737-900 on this route, but you know, why not? For tutorial purposes, it's a good plane. I like the Continental livery of United. I kind of don't like the Evo Blue livery. Please do not hate me for that, but I do not like the Evo Blue livery. I just don't for some reason. I like the Continental livery better. It just looks better, in my opinion. But yeah, once you turn into the gate here, I don't recommend exceeding more than like, I want to say like, don't exceed more than like 3 knots when turning into the gate and pulling into the gate. Just for, you know, so you can make corrections without having to slow brake really hard. Like I'm coming in at 2 knots right now. This is pretty good, I'd say. Make sure you're on center line as best as you can too. If you have to, you can also zoom in. Like as you see, it needs me to turn right. It's hard to make these corrections when you're going like 10 knots, so. But yeah, I'm gonna end this tutorial here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this 3-video series on infinite flight tutorials, and I really hope to see you again soon in maybe my next series or tutorial or something. My next video. I hope to see you again soon. And yeah, once you park here, just turn everything off, beacon lights. Don't forget to clear your flight plan as well. Just clear your flight plan. Make sure autopilot's reset, all that. Turn off your main battery in your APU and connect the ground services. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.